Good afternoon. Thank you for joining the webinar and welcome to 12 Ways to Skill Test Your Marketing Partner in preparation for SSA Fall 2018 in Las Vegas. Today, we are joined by Phil Smith from Link Media 360. Phil Smith, how are you today?
Jeff Herman, I am doing excellent. Doing excellent. Excited to skill test some marketers today.
Absolutely. That's good. Well, so as we discussed, Phil, you are an expert in this self-storage industry. You are attending SSA Fall 2018. And the goal of this webinar today is we want to help all of our attendees strengthen their BS detector, right?
Right.
Raise those flags. And when they're talking to people on the floor, especially potential marketing partners, the goal of this webinar is helping all the panelists and all the attendees really strengthen their BS detector. And because SSA is a massive show, you've attended in the past, and we've gone ahead and provided 12 questions that all of those self-storage providers, owners, marketers should be asking potential marketing partners to really skill test them. And we're going to dig into those questions here shortly. But then specifically, in addition to this webinar today, we will have a follow-up post-SSA webinar on September 19th at 1 p.m. And they will be 5 digital marketing strategies to implement immediately. So of all the things we learned at SSA and all the great conversations that were had with attendees and owners and marketers, really summarizing and synthesizing the 5 key marketing strategies that self-storage owners will be implementing immediately. But before we get into that, Phil, I would love for you to introduce yourself and the team at Link Media 360.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jeff. Phil Smith here, VP of Sales at Link Media 360. We are definitely very, very heavily focused in self-storage. We're headquartered out of Cleveland, and we've got 65 people at this agency that are very, very focused on occupancy-driven strategies that are really measured through a return on investment. We go to a lot of these conferences. We've been invited to speak at some of the state level shows like New Jersey and Indiana SSA. We'll be out at obviously the SSA show next week in Vegas. You can see us at ISS in the spring. And we attend a lot of conferences, have a lot of great tooling partners to really, really help our clients achieve the success that they're looking for.
Great. So Phil, are you excited to get to SSA and really looking forward to a great event?
I love the SSA show. There's so many people that are there walking around. They have such great questions. They're really, really looking for what's going to make the biggest impact. And those are the kind of conversations I love to have is impact and ROI driven. So I'm excited to get there, excited to see everybody, see a lot of our clients as well. So it'll be a good show for us.
Good deal. Well, so Phil, I know big show, lots of things happening on the floor, lots of learning happening, basically even in the kind of learning area and the conference area. But on the floor of the trade show, there's so much information to take in, so many sights and sounds of Las Vegas, that we thought it would be a great idea to really help cut through all the noise and just discuss the 12 questions to skill test potential marketing partners. Because it's fair to say the goal of a trade show like SSA is self-storage owners, self-storage marketers want to go and find the right partner to help them grow their business. And they probably have lots of conversations, and we prepared a guide to actually help really structure these conversations and dig into important elements. So Phil, do you want to review the 12 questions to help skill test marketing partners or give any additional background?
Yeah, I think you said it best, Jeff. And I think that these are ultimately questions that can help you understand not only who you're about to work with, but their perception on the space. And that's ultimately what we're always trying to find, right? Is partners, whether they be marketers, software companies, or even clients. We're really looking to just align how we feel, as well as figure out some new strategies. So we want to make sure that, these questions are going to give you a really good representation of where this, marketing partner may be, where their focus is and, how they're really driving results. with, without getting all of the acronym filled kind of answers that sounds really great and it's a little bit of fluff. This will help you kind of cut right to the chase with a lot of these. So I'm excited to dive in.
Great. So Phil, we have 12 questions broken down 2 pages of 6. And the good news is, for those of you that possibly can't stay for the full webinar, or for those that missed the live version and haven't joined the rest of the audience here, we actually have a single sheet, a one sheet, a leave behind, or a question guide we'll actually have with us at the booth on the floor of SSA. And that's something that you can pick up by the booth to walk around and use this guide to these conversations, and something to really help you once again skill test your marketing partner. So we're gonna tackle these questions in groups of 3 roughly, based upon subject. And so Phil, the goal is, while we're not going to get into the nuances of some of these, I think helping our audience today understand why these questions are important. So let's look at questions 1 through 3, for example. Always lots of conversation about Google, right? How do I get on the search page, the search engine results page? How do I outrank my competition? What are the ranking factors? And then most importantly, what's more important, blog content or location page content? So Phil, why is this set of questions important to understand if you're looking for a marketing partner?
Right. I think some of these questions, and specifically the second question, will really help you understand if the marketing partner you're speaking to understands Google and understands where Google is focused. We know, again, that Google's ever changing. There's updates all the time. And again, if you want to outrank your competition, there should be specific channels and strategies that they share with you that align to what Google is looking for. Again, if we want to show up on the first page, Google gives us some best practices, and there's a lot of resources out there that can help us understand, where should we be focused. And so ultimately what we're trying to do with these set of questions is, one, just evaluate if they know the space as far as search engine marketing, and then also see what their perspective is on content strategies. Again, we know Google still cares and loves, content. So really focusing on which content are they going to be, optimizing for you to try to get, those first page rankings and outranking your competition. It'll be important for you to understand where their focus is.
Right. And there are a lot of nuances between location pages, map packs, answer boxes, lots to dig in there when it comes to Google, correct?
Yes, there's so many. You named a lot of them. Again, how can we get in that position 0 with an answer box? How can we make sure that we're organically showing up, that people can find us in the map pack? There's definitely a lot of, kind of channels or strategies that they should be speaking to, at least at a high level, to help you understand, what's most important.
Okay. And it all boils down to those ranking factors and the signals that your website is sending to Google, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. So those are, I would say of all the 12 questions, these rank pretty high on the skill test, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. Number 2, again, is going to be your BS detector. If they miss those, they can't, it's going to be really tough for them to drive you results. So if they miss the most important SEO ranking factors, you'll know that that's probably not a partner that's going to help you outrank your competition in organic search.
And Phil, just how many ranking factors are there in general on Google?
There are thousands of ranking factors. Google does not release those, but we know that there's, basically you can group the ranking factors into about 8 categories.
Okay.
You should be looking for a couple of those categories to shine through.
Okay, good. So thousands of factors, many unbeknownst to the public, but 8 major categories need to be addressed. Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. So to keep things moving forward, speaking of Google, and of course there are other search engines out there like Bing, but Google is a dominant force in pay-per-click advertising as well as organic. So the next set of questions, what should someone expect to pay for popular search terms? What's an ad quality score and why is it important? And even things like broad match versus exact match for Google Ads. Why would someone really want to get the perspective of a marketing partner on this? Why are these important?
Well, excuse me, Jeff. We know that obviously Google is a business, and they definitely are pushing paid advertising. So when you look at paid advertising, or you type in a search query, typically the first thing you see on that search engine results page is paid ads, right? Mm-hmm. And we know that there's a high correlation between increasing occupancy and advertising with Google. But we also know that there's a lot of companies out there that are concerned about cost and competing with the REITs. And ultimately, kind of the keyword strategies of broad match versus exact match and ad quality scores definitely are going to let you know if they know how to beat the REITs, if they are going to help you compete and spend your dollars as best as you can. So that's why 5 and 6 are so important. Number 4, I really, really like this question because what I want you to be wary of is the marketer that says, it depends. We have what we call core to business keywords, things like self-storage, climate-controlled self-storage. There's core to business keywords. While there is some variability in the cost per click, there isn't that wide of a range when you look at all markets in the U.S. So again, what you're looking for is someone to provide you with a tangible range. Even if they don't know where you're physically located, they can give you that, again, if they're working with other storage providers throughout multiple markets, and they are heavily invested in paid advertising, which, again, is something we would expect in this space, then they should have a really good idea on what you should expect to pay on a cost per click basis. Again, that's not our leading KPI as part of managing these paid programs, but it is definitely something that your marketer should understand. So again, really looking for somebody to try to give you that fluff answer, and that maybe they don't know the space as well as they say they do.
That's Phil. That's great insight. So those also, that set of questions are also very important. Once again, because people can claim a lot of things, but to have mastery of an area such as paid advertising on Google takes a lot of experience, ongoing training, ongoing education, and a team that's just committed to kind of staying on top of all of the dynamics of this sector, correct?
Absolutely. And it's, some of these are, again, 5 and 6 are kind of that broad base. Do you understand just how to set up a Google AdWords or a Google Ads campaign? The 4th one is going to speak to their self-storage experience. So not only do we want somebody that understands the paid space, but we want somebody that really understands self-storage because it is a unique industry. There are some seasonality factors that play into this. There are some large REITs that play into this in some of the major markets. So really understanding not only paid advertising, but self-storage paid advertising is ultimately who we're looking for when we go to SSA.
Good. Yeah, it's great. You're right. Industry experience counts very highly. It's one thing to know Google AdWords. It's another thing to know Google AdWords as it pertains to self-storage and all the nuances of the sector.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. Well, so to keep moving, we made it to the first half of questions, which once again, Phil did a great job of what are the broad-based questions versus the very specific ones you want to watch out for. And here we have, the next batch we're going to tackle, getting reviews on Google, buying backlinks, something that I'm very interested in. And even from an advertising standpoint, new on the scene is Facebook and Facebook ads and how effective are Facebook ads. And a lot of people want a perspective on what's more effective, Google ads or Facebook ads. But I want to zero in on number 8 because I think we always want to buy the best backlinks. So why is that question important, Phil?
This question, again, is going to speak to their expertise in digital marketing and really where Google is focused. Also, what Google is putting the most weight on. This is definitely my favorite question. If you talk with a marketing vendor, I would love for you to write down the answer and come by booth 707 and share that with us. This is going to be by far your, probably best question to understand, is this person at least somewhat in the digital space or are they just faking it until they make it?
So question 8, where can I buy the backlinks? We're saying that's kind of the most telling question we have.
Yep. I would say that it's one of the most telling questions we have. Yep.
Okay. So there is a very specific answer we're looking for. And like Phil said, go by booth 707 to get the very specific answer, because we want to hear what other people are saying. And so by all means, track this one down for sure.
Yep. I would say if you're going to ask one question to every marketing vendor on the floor, I would say this is the one you want to ask.
Okay. Okay. That's good. That's good. So then questions, finishing out the list of our top 12. Lead qualification, right? How do I sort, if I set up call tracking, which is a great way to really get a sense of attribution in your sources of leads, how do you sort qualified leads out from call tracking? How do you, generally and more broadly, how do I spend money just to move faster? And what should the state of my website look like? Should I be concerned that, say, my website is very template driven, and templates are fine to a point, but then of course the whole beauty of a template is it's easy to work with to some extent, but then it becomes a commodity, and it's almost like you have a lot of clones out there. So
right. Yeah, I think number 10, first and foremost, call tracking is one of the biggest pieces to data collection, and to really get a full picture of where your leads are coming from. We know that not everybody is going to go right to the website and get on a location page and find their favorite 10 by 10 and reserve that way. There's going to be a lot of leads and inquiries that are going to be generated via phone. A lot of people like to call in, talk through, maybe even negotiate to try to get a better deal. So there's a very important piece to data collection through call tracking. At the same point, we know that not every single phone call that hits a call tracking line is a qualified lead. So what you want to understand from your marketing vendor is, first, if they say, whoa, we don't do call tracking, you know that they're probably not reporting on the whole picture. But then the second part is, understanding their data collection and data integrity. So we want to make sure that we're really having some sort of parameters around our call tracking. So, we're not reporting, inflated lead numbers. So you just want to make sure that before you get started, you really understand how your partner is going to track your leads through the website, through form fills, through calls, and then, how are they going to get as close as they can to the real number of qualified leads. So I think that's the first one. And, with trying to move fast, right? We know that this space is expanding. People are buying new buildings. They're building new. And specifically right now with the market where it's at and cap rates where they are, Jeff, we know that there's a lot of companies that are making the investment in new builds. It allows them to do unique and, kind of differentiating type of storage solutions. So things that are fully climate controlled, which includes humidity as well as temperature. In some of these older buildings, that's not possible, and they're selling at a premium. So if we're looking at building a new building, or hey, we're just Phil and Jeff, and we're trying to start up a storage business from scratch, and SSA is great because we get to meet a lot of new entrants into the storage space. And really, the biggest question is, where should I spend my money to get to my my occupancy percentage that I'm looking to get to? So a lot of kind of the industry standard and a lot of the companies in the space kind of look at that 85% range in occupancy as kind of the threshold there that we're really looking to get to. So how fast and what channels and how much money should we be spending to get to that 85%? And really, what is that lease up time frame? It's ultimately going to let you know, is this partner somebody that's going to drive me leads and occupancy today? And can they track it? Or is this somebody that I'm going to partner with, and who knows when I might see results? So you really want to focus there.
Yeah, and Phil, we got a question from the audience here, a question that came in. Basically, how long? So you want to move fast, but in general, how long does it take to see results with a digital marketing program?
Great question, and that will be dependent on your channel, right? We know that there are some channels, and I don't want to give away all the answers, Jeff. So if you'd like to have a one-on-one conversation, come on by the booth. But ultimately, we know that there are channels in the digital marketing space that can produce leads and leases today. And then there are some channels that are more long-term that really speak to the sustainability of the business once it's up and running. So we really want to make sure that we're investing in the right channel to lease up the fastest.
I see. Perfect. That's good to know, Phil. So then, that person that submitted the question, we encourage you to swing by, see Phil at the booth, and love to kind of dig into that. We'll get to you offline after this webinar is complete. And so lastly, Phil, this notion of why people are walking around probably wondering why their website looks like everyone else's if they're using kind of a template-driven system. What's the perspective there?
Yeah, I think what you'll understand is when you ask this question, is this going to be somebody who has templated websites and I'll look like everyone else? Or is this someone who has custom website solutions? And ultimately, that's up for you to decide after you get the answer from your marketing vendor. Hey, if I go with you, is my website going to look like some of your other clients, or is it going to be unique? Ultimately, there are some owners and operators who don't care if their website looks like everyone else. And there are some who are very focused on their brand, building their locations, building some brand authority, and they want to be unique. They feel that their locations are unique. They offer unique, storage solutions to the local market. So, ultimately, this is just a question to help you understand their strategy as far as, their current clients as well as moving forward.
I see. Phil, that's very good to know. So that being said, we, for the purpose of preparing for the SSA conference and trade show, we wanted to have this quick webinar and provide, the way to skill test your marketing partner and, understand how to set off the BS detector. And look, there's my red line that stuck from the last slide.
Looks good.
Sorry to have that red line through your face, Phil, but, you want to see everyone come by to booth 707, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to have myself, Kirk Craney, our VP of, our Senior VP of Solutions, Todd Hall, VP of Client Services, Matt Messenger, one of our, top digital marketing strategists in this space. So there's going to be 4, very, very excited individuals at booth 707 ready to talk to anybody that comes up.
Great. And we'll have copies of the set of questions to guide discussions with marketing partners, really helping our, attendees of the show sniff out the good vendors from the not as good, to keep it positive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing everybody there.
Yeah, that's great. And as follow-up to the show, so on September 19th, we're having another webinar, and we encourage you. We'll also have registration information available at the show and via email. So we look forward to sharing that information with you, because we will be wrapping up the key learnings from SSA and of all the conversations we've had about digital marketing and best practices, and really finding out which questions were most compelling or most controversial, and going through and answering those 5 questions and really providing a high degree of clarity on the 5 exact things you have to do to hit the ground running and drive growth in 2019.
Yep.
So until then, we have a large appendix to share of a lot more information, but we will wrap it up. We appreciate your time today. Phil, thanks so much for being generous with your time. Thank you, audience, for joining us today on this webinar. And we look forward to seeing you in Las Vegas. And we also look forward to seeing you on the next webinar, September 19th.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.